So I had just come from the tour of the actual camp, and I needed to get back to Vienna. So I had just asked to get a ride down the hill from an airport van. And they had said yes, and I peeked in, and there was a family sitting there, and it was basically four or five of the older children. They were probably all in their 40s and their 50s, and then the grandparents, which were in their 80s, well into their 80s, one set of grandparents. So it was this family. And I said, hi, my name's Suzanne, and they were Americans. And I said, we're from New York. Sure, come on in. We'll take you back to Vienna. Or no, they said, we'll take you down the hill and no problem. And then they kind of chatted some more, and they said, hey, we're going back to Vienna. Just ride back with us. And I said, sure, of course. Great. Thank you. So they said they just had to make a quick stop in Linz. And I said, no problem. And after we left Linz, I was chatting with them, and they asked me, what were you doing? And I said, I was just really curious, and I told them about my adventure and spending the night and meeting the woman from Liechtenstein. And they said, well, Suzanne, this is your lucky day. And I said, well, okay, why? And they said, well, we're all here today because our father, sitting up there in the van next to the driver, he survived 5 different concentration camps, and he's alive today because he was on Schindler's List. And they said, Suzanne, why don't you go up and sit next to him and talk to our grandpa about his story? He'll tell you. You're the type of person, you're young, you're inquisitive. He likes to tell this story, and why don't you go do that? So the next stop I did. I got to sit next to him, and he told his stories about the different concentration camps, again, about losing his family and how he survived, how Oskar Schindler saved his life, and he was on that list. And I got to sit next to the living history of something that is so beyond what anybody can comprehend. And it was definitely life-changing, and it was something I'll never forget, and I'm really thankful I get to actually tell the story so that the story stays alive. So I thanked them profusely, and again, hugs all around, and I got back to Vienna drained completely, physically, emotionally. And a couple days later, somebody from the choir I was singing in calls me up and says, Suzanne, did you go to Mauthausen? And I said, yes. And she said, well, your picture was in the newspaper. And I said, what? And she said, yeah, your picture, you're standing right next to Simon Wiesenthal. And I just went, what? So there's a picture of me, and I will find it, and it's me. I was walking in right behind Simon Wiesenthal. I didn't even realize it at that moment. So people, I got a couple phone calls actually and said, were you in Mauthausen? I said, yeah. So there I was probably 22, 23 years old. And now all of these people are dead. And it was definitely a life-changing experience. And I was very thankful that I got to be a part of that and to hear these stories by people who are no longer alive.